The glowing screen was my only companion in the dead of night, the blue light painting a stark contrast against the darkness of my small apartment. I was a ghost, a phantom woven from pixels and carefully crafted lies. And I was about to become a hunter. It all started, as so many modern tragedies do, with a dating app. His name was Liam, or at least that's what the profile claimed. He was charming, witty, and seemed to have a magnetic pull that drew me in from the very first message. We'd met in late April of 2023. He said he was a software engineer, living in Seattle, working for a big tech company. He sent me photos of a handsome man with kind eyes and a killer smile. He was everything I thought I wanted. We talked for hours every single day. He knew how to make me laugh, how to soothe my anxieties, and how to make me feel utterly seen. He spoke of future plans, of visiting me in my quiet little town upstate, of building a life together. I was falling, and I was falling hard. I was already sketching out color palettes for our hypothetical shared living room, imagining the scent of coffee brewing in our kitchen. He was my escape from a life that felt a little too beige, a little too predictable. Then came the requests. Small at first. A little help with a surprise for his sister's birthday. A small investment in a cryptocurrency he swore was about to skyrocket. He painted these scenarios with such conviction, such urgency. He'd show me charts, talk about market trends, and always assure me it was a sure thing. He'd always promise to pay me back with interest, a generous bonus for my trust and support. I was hesitant, of course. I wasn't made of money. I worked as a librarian, a modest but stable income, and I'd been saving diligently for a down payment on a small house. But Liam's words were like a siren song. He'd make me feel guilty for not trusting him, for not wanting to be part of his success. He'd say things like, "Don't you believe in us? Don't you want a future where we don't have to worry about money?" And I, the foolish, hopeful woman, would cave. The first transfer was $500. Then $1,000. Then $2,500. The amounts grew, and so did my unease, but Liam was so good at reassurance. He'd send me screenshots of his supposed gains, making me feel like I was part of something big. By the end of May, I'd sent him over $15,000. All of my savings, all of my carefully built nest egg, was gone. The first crack appeared when he started dodging my calls. His messages became shorter, more cryptic. He'd claim to be in crucial meetings, or his phone was dying. Then, one Tuesday, June 13th, he stopped replying altogether. The silence was deafening. I tried calling, texting, even emailing. Nothing. It was like he'd vanished into thin air. My stomach twisted into knots. I started digging. I searched his username, his email address. I ran his photos through reverse image search. And that's when the icy dread began to seep in. The photos weren't his. They belonged to a model who lived in California, a man who had no idea his face was being used to con people. My heart pounded in my chest, a frantic drumbeat of panic and dawning horror. I wasn't just heartbroken, I had been scammed. Thoroughly, expertly, and devastatingly scammed. The shame was a physical weight, crushing me. I felt like such an idiot, so naive, so easily fooled. I replayed every conversation, every word, looking for the tells, the inconsistencies I'd missed. The grief was a raw wound, but beneath it, a flicker of something else began to ignite, rage. I spent weeks in a haze of despair and anger. Sleep offered little respite, filled with nightmares of Liam's smiling face morphing into a cruel sneer. I'd stare at my laptop screen, the cursor blinking mockingly, feeling utterly defeated. I'd cry until my eyes were swollen, then I'd rage until my voice was hoarse. I wanted him to hurt. I wanted him to feel even a fraction of the pain he'd inflicted on me. And then, an idea, born of desperation and a healthy dose of vengeful impulse, began to form. If he could create a persona, build a fantasy, then so could I. If he could steal my future, then I would steal his. I started by creating a new profile on a different dating app, one I hadn't used before. I chose a city far from both his supposed Seattle and my actual town, let's say Denver. I crafted a new identity. Sophia. She was a successful graphic designer, independent, worldly, and looking for something real, but not desperate. I used photos I'd found online, a woman with a confident smile and eyes that hinted at both intelligence and a touch of mischief. I was meticulous. I learned about Denver's trendy neighborhoods, its art scene, its best coffee shops. I researched current events, popular music, and trending social media challenges. I became Sophia. And then, I waited. It took almost a month, but one evening, in late July, he appeared. His username was different, but the pattern of his profile, the vague but impressive job title, the hint of a luxurious lifestyle, the earnest but slightly generic bio, was unmistakable. He messaged me. "Hi Sophia, you caught my eye. You seem like an interesting woman." My heart leaped into my throat, not with affection, but with a cold, sharp thrill of anticipation. It was him. The fraudster. The man who had stolen my life savings. This time, I wouldn't fall. This time, I would be the one pulling the strings. I played the part of Sophia perfectly. I was playful, a little mysterious, and definitely intrigued. He, this time posing as Daniel, was as smooth as ever. He spoke of late nights working on crucial projects, of his passion for vintage cars, of his desire for a partner who understood the pressures of his high-stakes world. It was the same script, just a different actor. We chatted for days, then weeks. He sent me the same kinds of photos, impossibly handsome, the kind of face that looked like it belonged on a magazine cover. I carefully mirrored his language, his pacing. I let him believe he was charming me, captivating me. Then came the requests. This time, it was different. He wasn't asking for money from Sophia. He was bragging about his incredible financial success. He was talking about investments, about opportunities so good they were almost unbelievable. He subtly started weaving in how much he had made, how his latest crypto venture had netted him a cool $500,000 in just a few weeks. He painted a picture of a man who was generous, who wanted to share his good fortune with someone special. He was testing the waters, seeing if Sophia was as gullible as his previous victims. The day I decided to strike was early September. He'd been talking for days about a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to invest in a private tech startup. He claimed he'd already put in $50,000 and was considering another $100,000, but he was a little short. He said he'd hate to miss out on such a lucrative deal, especially because he wanted to surprise his ailing mother with a new car. He was looking for someone to partner with for a portion of the investment, promising a substantial return within a month. The irony wasn't lost on me. He was trying to pull the exact same scam, but this time, he was the one pretending to be the successful investor, looking for his mark. My hands were shaking as I typed my reply. I played along, feigning excitement and concern. I told him I was thrilled for him, and that I'd always admired his business acumen. Then, I dropped the bait. I told him I'd recently come into some unexpected money from an inheritance. I fabricated a story about a distant aunt who had passed away, leaving me a small but significant sum, around $20,000. I expressed my willingness to invest it, not as a partner, but as a loan, a way to help him secure his own larger investment. I made sure to emphasize how much I trusted him, how I saw this as a way to support his generosity towards his mother. I sent him my bank details. The transfer went through on September 7th, $20,000. The same amount I'd lost, almost to the dollar. The same sick feeling twisted in my gut, but this time, it was mixed with a perverse sense of triumph. He'd taken my bait. He'd fallen for my trap. The next few days were excruciating. I replayed our conversations, imagining his smug satisfaction, his delight at yet another easy score. He sent me a thank you message, full of effusive gratitude, promising me a substantial return and a small thank you bonus for my generosity. He even sent me a doctored screenshot of a supposedly pending $5,000 deposit into my account, which, of course, never materialized. The moment of truth came on September 15th. He was supposed to finalize his big investment and, by extension, repay me. His messages became sporadic again. Excuses started piling up. A sudden change in market conditions, a delay in funding, a need to relocate for an urgent business trip. I stayed calm, playing the role of the patient, understanding investor. Then, I made my move. I contacted the dating app's support team. I provided them with screenshots of his entire conversation with Sophia, detailing the scam he was attempting. I also contacted my bank, explaining the situation and providing them with the details of the fraudulent transfer. The next day, the real Liam, or rather, the real scammer, messaged me one last time. "Sophia, I'm so sorry, something came up. I need to lay low for a bit. I'll be in touch when things settle down." My reply was short and brutal. "I don't think you will be. You see, Daniel, you scammed me for $15,000 back in May. And I just got my $20,000 back, plus you're now under investigation for attempted fraud. Enjoy your new digital prison. Your real name is his real name, and I've sent everything to the authorities." Funny how the tables turn, isn't it? The silence that followed was the sweetest sound I had ever heard. I didn't get my original $15,000 back directly, but the satisfaction of knowing he was caught, of knowing he would face consequences for his actions, was worth more than any money. The authorities in Seattle confirmed they were pursuing him. The dating app banned his accounts. I never heard from him again. I deleted all the fake profiles, the carefully constructed persona of Sophia. I returned to my quiet life, the life I had once found too beige. Now, it felt like solid ground, a sanctuary from the treacherous digital landscape. The betrayal had left scars, but the revenge, the hard-won justice, had healed them in a way I never thought possible. I had been a victim, but in the end, I became the architect of his downfall. And that, in the confession vault, is a confession worth telling.